All right, everyone, welcome back to Breslov Efrat here at Shira David, and we wish a refuah shleima to Michal, Shmuel, Ben Tamar, Sarah. Okay, should have a refuah shleima mamash b'kari b'soy shachar Yisrael.
Amen.
Okay, and of course we also learn for the well-being of the chayalim and the chatufim and the pitzuim, the injured ones, the captives and the soldiers, of course, wherever they are. That Hashem should show them a lot of mercy and bring them all home.
Amen.
Oh my goodness, it's unbelievable. Okay, I wish everyone a good vach and a shvuah tov. And let's learn Likutey Halachos Torah. We're up to we're in Halacha Aleph, and we're in the middle. We all have the place. We're up to V'zeh shetzarich likrois sholosh psukim l'chol echad. Okay, so we're learning the laws of Kriyas Torah. We learned many different things so far, all right? That you always have to have at least 10. You have to have at least 10 psukim, right? At least 10 psukim. No, that means you would have at least, let's say, at least 4, 3 and 3, 3, 4 and 3, 3, 3 and 4, right? You have to have some kind of combination of at least getting at least 10, right? Except for we said there was one exception, which was the parsha of Amalek, right? Right? We said that one we specifically don't add. We want to keep it just like that. Why? Because Amalek came to be chaser, make something lacking from Klal Yisrael, from us, our unity with Hashem. That's what they tried to do, and therefore we cut out from their parsha. We'll get a little bit more about that. And there's only 9 until and. Here we go. Let's go. So today we're learning. So you have to have at least 3 psukim. Right? You never get an aliyah with less than 3 psukim, right? You always have 3 psukim when you have an aliyah. And you don't call up less than 3 people, right? You never have that, right? You always have to have at least 3 people get called up. In each segment when you read the Torah, correct?
That comes out to 9. Somebody's got to get 4.
Right, I said that. So it's 4, 3, 3, 3, 4, 3, 3, 3, 4. Right? Those are the combinations. Either one. Yeah. What do you want to say?
Well, it says in that part you're talking. It says because the completion of the malchut is by invoking into it life and length of days.
Okay, but you're reading ahead.
That's ahead. No, I thought that was in the same place.
No.
Sorry.
Okay, now, hamalchus. Here we go. Because the completeness of the malchus, when you want to fulfill malchus, when you want to fill, we're talking about malchus, Hashem's kingdom, right? And the malchus, we said, is the lowest of the spheres, right? We have 10 spheres, right? 10 psukim for the 10 spheres, right? 10 spheres, 10 psukim, right? And you want to be able to be mashlim to have shleimus to the malchus. You bring into it life. And the arichas yam, like we said, any time you take something that's time bound, and you turn it into something Torah with Torah mitzvahs masim tovim, it becomes eternal, right? And that's the arichas yam. That's what we said by last week. We read about by Avram Avinu. Avram zokein ba bayamim. Right? By Avram was Zakein Ba Bayamim, right? So it says that he came full with his days. He was the Zakein Ba Bayamim. He came, all his days were all filled with Torah, mitzvahs, and masim tovim. The Torah is telling us that. It's fascinating. Before Avram Avinu, there was no such a thing as getting old. Avram Avinu davened to Hashem, because Yitzchak and Avram looked the same. It wasn't amazing, right? The person grew up and they reached their maturity, right? And they just stayed that way their whole life, never changed. Avram Avinu said, but we look alike. We won't know the difference between me and my son. Unbelievable. Oh, Yossi, welcome back, Yossi. Varichas yam. Okay, shehi bechinas das, shehi bechinas shalom. That's das, and that's shalom. Bebechinas machlekes l'shem shemayim. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to learn a new concept over here. we have machlokes, and we have a machlokes l'shem shemayim, right? Sometimes people argue, right? I'm right, you're right, right? But then there's always going to be a third one that comes to be machriya, right? There's going to be a third one that's going to come to be like the referee, right? Like we said it was shnei chesum machrishim zeh zeh ad sheyava hakosav hashlishi ve'achriya beineim, right? We said it in the morning, right? We right? Right, we know those words, right? So at any time you always have two arguments, and there's a third one that comes to decide, right? To help make a decision, right? And so now when you have when you have a machlokes l'shem shemayim, so we know that that's a little bit different because we know elu v'elu divrei elikim chayim, right? When the guys when they're in the base medrash and they're arguing back and forth, right? And we know that there's also an ahava between the chavrusas, right? You have a chavrusa that's mamish, they're going at each other all day long, but they really love each other. They're just trying to find the truth. They don't have any, they don't make it personal. Like, some people have their political discussions, right? And they mamish wind up, they can't stand the other person at the end of the conversation, right? This guy's crazy, right? Did it ever happen? Discussing things with somebody and you just say, well, I just can't deal with this guy, right? Ever happen?
Yes.
but if you're arguing something with Torah, it's different. It's different. You can have a discussion with someone with Torah and you'll try to understand his way. He'll try to understand your way. You're not going to come up with, it's not going to come up like that. We'll see now. Now, watch this. V'asholim hu bechinas hashlishi. The third one is the shalom, right? The third one. Machriya. That's the one that comes, that he makes the decision between the two sides, right? The third one comes and discusses and works it out between the two of them. Ki ein shalom ela kishiyesh shnei hafachim v'ashlishi machriya beineim. Hey, how do you like this? You can't have shalom unless you have two opposites, two different opinions. It has to be two something else. What's shalom? I believe this, you believe that, but we can have peace amongst each other, right? We believe the wrong, we each believe something else, right? But we can still agree to disagree. Maybe we could say it like that. Maybe we agree to disagree or something like that, right? Right, okay, bebechinas, yamin usmal, ve'emsoi, you have the right and the left and the middle. So you have the right, the left, and the middle, right? It's amazing, like for today's times, right? You have the right, the left, right? And then the middle, okay? And therefore you need three people to come up. We go up for the Elias, right? We're talking about Elias, Kriyas Torah, right? You always have to have at least three people that go up. Kedei lahashlam amalchus ayidei hashalom, because now we said if you have differences between the two, you need the third one to make the be machriya. So that's one of the reasons why you have to have three people to go up. A minimum of three stanzas, a minimum of three people. Right? You got that? Mm-hmm. Okay. Shehi bechinas das arichas yom. Okay. Al kein tiknu gam kein b'sheni v'chamishi. And therefore it was established that we read the Torah on Monday and Thursday, right? Mm-hmm. That's when we read our Torah, right? Every day on Thursday, Monday and Thursday.
To make it 3 times a week.
Huh?
To make it 3 times a week.
Exactly. Well, this is
all right.
Very good. Here we go. Jehi Bezdin Yoshim. We know that the Gemara, the Chazal tell us that the Bezdin used to sit in the cities, right? In the big towns, they would sit on Monday and Thursday. People would come and they had their disagreement. Whatever they had their disagreements, they would go to the Bezdin on Monday and Thursday. Right? Again, Bezdin was the one that would make the difference between the two sides. The judge makes the difference, right? 3. Interesting, right? Kidei live saik hamishpat, in order to make a psak, to make a verdict on the judgment. Shehu hashalom ki apsak din hu hachriya vashalom. Right? You go to Bezdin, right? 2 people that are God-fearing people, and they go to Bezdin, and the judge is a rightful dayan, right? You have a rightful Bezdin, right? Right, and the three, and they're sitting there, right? For Dine Mamnis, you can use three, you can even use one, but okay, whatever. K'may shekosav u'mishpat shalom shaftu b'shareichem. Right, the Navi Zechariah says u'mishpat shalom, and judgment makes peace. Shaftu b'shareichem, when they judge in their gates in the cities, right? Within the gates of the cities, you make shalom. That's what the whole idea is, to make shalom. Achar. Now, this is the amazing thing. The Rab Nosson is writing here now. This is something special. This is something very special. Rab Nosson is coming now, and he's telling you that I finished just writing this now. And I'm learning my Seder in Shulchan Aruch. He's telling us his personal experience, right? He just finished writing what we just learned, right? Now, and that day he opened up the Shulchan Aruch where he's up to, and he's learning Shulchan Aruch. So he sees from the Taz. Look what he says now. The Taz, right? Masha Kosav Habeis Yosef B'Shem Orches Chayim, right? Zel Shoynai. Right? And he brings down now, he's telling us what he learned, so to say, he doesn't really have to qualify what he's writing, but he's qualifying what he's writing and his idea based on the Taz. What the Taz brings down is, oh, look at this, wow, Boker Tov, okay, Shalom Aleichem, okay, Kigoyim Parshas Amalek. This is what he brings us down from the Beis Yosef B'Shem Orches Chayim V'Zel Shani Kigoyim Parshas Amalek. The Parsha Amalek, look at this, Beis Yosef Hevi B'Shem Orches Chayim, and Lo Yisifu Boy, you don't add. Look at this, they say the halach is you don't add. You would think that the Parsha of Amalek, you can add, let's say the pasuk Vayavay Amalek, add one more pasuk make it 10. No, don't add, it has to be 9. That's the only example that you have. You have 9 psukim. Always, the halach is, yes, you weren't here, but the rule is it always has to be 10 psukim. Except for this parsha. Right. Except for this. Now we're learning here, he brings down from the Taz, this is actually halacha l'maisa. This is halacha l'maisa.
Amalek has to be 9.
Has to be 9. You're going to see why now. 1 second. Watch this. Why? Maybe you make it before or after. Add one pasuk. Yeah. Add one pasuk. Mibnei Shama Kodesh Baruch Hu Amalek Gorem Liyais Shemi V'Chisi Chaserim. Amalek caused that my kisei, that Hashem's throne and His name should be lacking. Right? Amalek caused that. Right? Amalek brought all the doubt into us and all of the suffix. Right? Amalek brings suffix in, right? And we're not sure. It's Hashem, it's not at this, that. We think all these crazy things. That's Amalek. So Amalek caused us to have this doubt. Right? We believed, we saw the miracles when we came out of Mitzrayim. Let's think about this, right? We saw the great miracles, right? We saw the 10 plagues. We saw then the Mitzrayim were drowned in the Yamsuf, right? That was amazing, right? We went out, nice, everything was great. We had a great experience going through the Yamsuf. They drowned, right? Yes. Could you imagine you experienced that, right? You just experienced an amazing, amazing event going through the Yamsuf, right? All the midrashim, we all learned them, right? The beautiful ground, the beautiful tiles on the ground, the marble, and we had trees, and they had the drinks, and it was amazing. It was something spectacular, and they wound up drowning, right? So that's what happened. Right afterwards, right after that story, Vayavay Amalek. Right then, we were mamash at our high. We mamash believed in Hashem. It was amazing. We just experienced it, right? It was the greatest adventure that we could have been on, right? Do you ever think about that? Kriyas Yamsuf, right? We go through the Yamsuf. Right, everything is great, and that we can't believe how wonderful that was. We turn around and we see the Mitzrayim are getting spit out of the Yamsuf. The same, we went in there, they went in there. We had a great experience. They died. Is that amazing? Then comes along Amalek. And Amalek brought the suffix. Right, they were the only brazen ones that were able to come at that time to fight against us, right? We learned that whole thing. I don't know if you remember. We learned this whole thing of why Amalek came at that time. Do you remember? Why Amalek was the one that came and attacked us then? Do you remember that? What we learned about that? Do you want to go over that? Amalek had a hold on the Bechorei Mitzrayim. The Bechorei Mitzrayim were the advisors of Parik, right? The elder, the firstborns of Mitzrayim were those that were the advisors of Parik, right? And each time Hashem does another makkah, you see the advisors of Parik tell him, no, it's okay. Because Amalek was edging them along, right? So what does Hashem do? Hashem makes at the end of the last makkah, makkahs Bechoros. Right? Gets rid of all the advisors. He gets rid of all the advisors. Now Amalek has nobody. Right? They don't have any advisors. So then it says on the third day, they came to tell Parai that we left. Who came? Amalek came to tell Parai. He came to tell Parai. Oh, do you remember that these guys, they left? What do you mean they left? He didn't know that? What, Parai didn't realize that? Right? There was no house in Mitzrayim that didn't have a dead person. Right? They were still mourning all of their dead. 3 days later, right? They still remembered it, right? It wasn't, right? You lose people in the family. 3 days later, they still remembered that, right? And then he goes and he gets everyone together and they chase after the Jewish people. And then what does Hashem do? He drowns all the Mitzrayim. So now Amalek has no Bechorei Mitzrayim. He has no Mitzrayim to fight his battle. So he says, you know what? I have to go do it now myself. It was Amalek the whole time, was behind the whole thing. Amalek was behind the whole thing. Now he gets it. So now, since you see now the Taz brings down for the base, right, that therefore you made my kisei, right? It says al case ka, right? It says we read al case ka. Case is supposed to be kisei. It's missing the aleph, right? Kisei. And ka is supposed to have the yud k vav k. It's supposed to have the vav k. It doesn't have the vav k there. So that's why it's Hashem's name, and his kisei is chaser. Since his kisei is chaser, your part in the Torah is going to be chaser also. How do you like that? Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, now look what it says. Kach parshasai chasera. Also, your parsh will be chasera. Yerushalmi, and in the Gemara, Yerushalmi says, Amahu asa maisa ketua. You made a maisa of cutting off. Ketua means to cut off, right? Cut off. You made a maisa that you cut off. You cut off my kisei. You cut off my name. So then you're going to get cut off. Therefore, the Gemara says in Yerushalmi, therefore your name will also, your parsha will be also get cut off. Ad kan l'shaynei. That's the end. V'oirei einai. And this brought a lot of light to my eyes. Rav Nosson is writing. Isn't that beautiful? Rav Nosson loved seeing this because he just wrote his discourse that we just were learning the last few days, right? And now Rav Nosson says, I just saw this in the Shulchan Aruch.
Which gives exactly
which qualifies the things we learned before that Rav Nosson brought. All the ideas he brought us. It qualifies everything. Ki tehila lekel ra'isi shinchani Hashem b'derech emes. I see that Hashem is guiding me in the right way. Rav Nosson says, look, I was learning this lesson based on the Rebbe's teachings, right? Based on lesson 56 in Likutey Moharan, right? Yeah. And I drew this out, and now I see this right now. Right. He was.
You know what else this is? I get how excited he is. Like that is that anytime we're learning something, and you find something somewhere else, seemingly
that qualifies it.
You know, like Hashem's got you, and he's had that happen. That's like,
right.
That's the best. Rashi has this also a few times. Like very famously, he was writing about like I want to say the ephod. Or like a Kohen would wear. Uh-huh. It was describing the vest. Mm-hmm. And he goes, as I'm writing this, a nobleman came by on a horse. And he goes, that's what it looks like. Like this type of...
Yeah. This is Hashem giving us a pat on the back, right? That's a pat on the back. It's amazing. Yeah. No, like even Erev Shabbos, we were learning. We tied in what we were learning to the Parsha Chayesar, right? That's amazing.
Right.
And you can do these things.
Though, like clapping, I don't know, and jumping up and doing.
Well, you can hear it in his. You see what he says. I'm so happy. It's beautiful. K'may shekasafti lamala, as I wrote up above, but we just learned. We studied before. Ma she'ein b'parshas Amalek ki im tisha psukim. I know there's only 9 psukim, and now we understand the reason, and we see it from we see it in the Gemara in Yerushalmi. We see it from the Taz, brings it down from the Beis Yosef. So we have plenty of qualifications for this idea. Ki bechinas ki yad al case ka, right? Like we just said, al case ka. It says al case ka. It should say ki say, and it shouldn't be ka. It should be yud k vav k. And since that's lacking, so the psukim are also lacking. Gam matzasi achakash kosav abeis Yosef b'shem paiskim shema shenistaken uvolet zion kedei sheyikaimu kol Yisrael limud Torah b'chol yom. Right, so then he saw. So we were learning. Remember, we were learning the idea of the volet zion, right? Then we say the kadosh, 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 the kedusha, the sidra, right? Every day we have to say that, right? But we don't, if you think about it, we don't say it Shabbos morning. You ever think of that? Shabbos morning, we don't say the volet zion. We say Asher without the volet zion. Right? We go to Musaf, we don't say the volet zion, right? Right? But I'll tell you just a secret, because we had to have Torah. Remember, we said that the same way on Purim. The same way on Purim, we read the 9. That's when we read this, on Purim morning. Right? We read the 9, but afterwards, what do? We read the Megillah. Right after Kriyas HaTorah on Purim, we read the Megillah. Right after Kriyas HaTorah on Shabbos, we read the Haftorah. There's more Torah afterwards. But on a regular day, when we don't have Kriyas HaTorah, right? They're saying that the institute in Volet Zion, so we say these psukim in Volet Zion, which is also considered Limud HaTorah. It's part of tefillah, but there's also Torah built into it. Right? They say,
is there a relationship with when we read Koheles or Yonah with the parsha, with the 9 or 10?
Yeah, you don't say a Volet Zion on Yom Kippur either by Mincha.
Okay.
You don't say a Volet Zion by Mincha, right? But again, you don't say, but you do read the Haftorah.
Yeah.
Call up 3 people, but you do read the Haftorah. Let's see now. Let's continue inside. Ayin Sham. Okay. Mechuvan k'moishe kasafti l'malo volet zion hu b'mokem esek haTorah. That's in the place of esek haTorah, right? It's very important that you learn Torah after you daven, right? After tefillah, you're supposed to go daven. You're supposed to go learn Torah. Kitzricha davka l'moed acha tefillah, because you're supposed to certainly learn after you daven, right? The person thinks he finished davening and he accomplished so much with his davening. Yeah, he did. But you have to be mashlamit. You complete it with learning of Torah, right? That's why it's very important you learn after you daven. All right? Because again, you want to bring more life into your life and arichas yamim, right? You want the Torah is the arichas yamim. Okay? V'chein kamuva gam came b'shulchan aruch tzarich lotzeis mi beis ha'knesses lebeis ha'medrash kedei lelomad. Right in Shulchan Aruch it teaches, right, that you're supposed to right after, right, that's in Aruch Chaim and Kuf Nun Hey, right, Siman Aleph, that right after you finish davening, go from the beis ha'knesses to the beis ha'medrash. Right, in those days they used to have a shul that was a beis ha'knesses that was only for tefillah. Right, they had the Beis HaKnesses was for tefillah, right? So then the Beis HaMedrash was for learning. So leave the Beis HaKnesses that was only there for tefillah and go to the Beis HaMedrash and go learn. Right? Today we call them really a Beit Medrash. It's all Batei Midrashim today, so because we learn and daven in the same place. I don't think that we don't really have today a Beit HaKnesses that they only daven in that shul. Do we have one, Yossi? Could you tell me of one here in this? You take the people on your tours. Do you ever do that?
Yeah.
Is there one?
Where there's a place where we just daven.
Mm-hmm.
Where?
It's a Beit HaKnesses. They don't do any learning there, only daven. That's how it was in the time of the Gemara.
Yeah. And then they had a base measure separately?
Base measure was separate. Yeah, I know, it's strange, right?
Yeah.
No,
I guess you don't have one. I guess you never saw that.
Upstairs, we mostly daven there. Upstairs, here.
Well, they teach. No, they teach in this.
No, they have classes as well.
Oh, okay, but no, in an official Beit HaKnesset, there wouldn't be any classes.
At all.
No classes, only tefillah, right? The Chazan has his thing, and that's it.
No classes allowed.
No, that was the way it was designed. This is here for tefillah.
Yeah.
So, well, if you think about it, it was very good because all those guys that do that daf yomi during chazaras or shots, they couldn't do that. This is here for davening. No svarim here. You have a sitter. You have a chumash. That's it. Interesting, right? Yeah. You can't bring your other books in there. Okay. All right. Anyway. Okay, here we go. Al pi tam zeh nocha in gamkein ma she'ein oimu avolat tzion b'Shabbos. Now we understand why we don't say avolat tzion on Shabbos morning, right? Ki im b'mincha, only by mincha, right? By mincha we have only three. We read three, and there's no haftorah after mincha. Right. Oh, so then I need the avolat tzion. Then I need to have more Torah to be mashlim, more Torah, right? But Shabbos morning, we had a night, we read the whole parsha, right? And then we do the Haftorah. Oh, beautiful. We're adding more after, so therefore that's why it was never instituted to have avolat tzion on Shabbos morning. Kiyim b'mincha, only on mincha. Ki oz, kayim b'Torah v'navi, right? You read the Torah, you read the parsha, the parsha of the week, and you also read the section of the Navi that was designed to go with, that goes with the parsha, the Haftorah. K'maisha Kosav Beis Yosef Sham Tam Zeh, and the Beis Yosef brings this tam also for this reason why this is the case. Sheni v'Chamishi Gam Kain, and when it comes to Monday and Thursday, we also we have the same idea that there's no Haftorah afterwards, so we have the avolat tzion. Afal pi chein machma shekorim ma'at. Ein maftirin b'navi al kein tzrichin gam kein avolat tzion, and therefore we need the avolat tzion. So now we understand how our tefillah was, how the siddur was all designed, right? In times that you have a haftorah afterwards, you don't have to have the avolat tzion. But times that you don't have the haftorah, you're always going to have the avolat tzion in order to be mashlim the arichas yomim, chaim and the arichas yom. Okay, got it? Okay, we understand that. Okay, good, very good. And all this works out very well with what we explained above. Then he says halacha beis. So this is halacha aleph. Halacha beis loy noida aye. I don't know what happened to halacha beis. Rav Nassim writes, I don't know what happened to it. Halacha beis, I don't know what happened to it. But loy noida lanu im loy nizbara v'nevda b'avarisein rab. Rav Nassim is right. I know he's going through his papers. He was going through his things. And he says, I don't know where halacha beis is, and I don't know if I did write it or I didn't write it. It's very interesting how Rav Nassim is giving us all his own personal experiences here, right? He tells us, oh, I just learned this in the Taz, brought down by Beis Yosef, and I just saw this when I was learning Yerushalmi, and it worked out very nicely. But halacha beis I can't find. Is that amazing? I find that amazing.
There you go.
He doesn't know. He says, because we have so many sins, it got lost. Because of the sins, it got lost. So then we're going to we'll pick it up now. Do we have a few more minutes? Yeah, we do. Let's start Halacha Gimel, okay? Halacha Gimel, because we don't have base. All right, so I'm sorry, but Rav Nassim says we don't have Halacha base.
Other than Amalek, which is 9 psukim, we always read 10.
Always.
Now we're allowed to, though, read 9.
No.
Monday, Thursday, we're not never allowed to read 9.
No, you'll never find it. I challenge you.
At least 10.
I challenge you. You won't find it. You will not find it. The halach has to be at least 10. At least 10, because there are 10 spheres.
Right.
Malchus is the lowest. We're mashlim the Malchus with the Arichas Yom, the Chaim and the Arichas Yomim, and that's how we fill the rest of the 10 spheres. So therefore, but 9 we don't have. Right. We only have. And
the perfect time to fill the Arichas Yomim is on a Monday and Thursday, because it's an auspicious time.
Right, it's a very auspicious time. Yes.
There's
the Bezdin would judge then, which would bring more shalom into the world, right?
Right.
It was connected to Moshe Rabbeinu that he was.
That's what's coming up next. Now we're gonna. Moshe Rabbeinu went up on Monday.
ahead.
They're very good. Yeah.
You're reading ahead.
Very good. Moshe Rabbeinu went up on Monday and Thursday in the 40 days, and he was there. Right, that's very, very good. Sasha, you read Moshe
Rabbeinu did what?
Moshe Rabbeinu would go up to Shemayim on Monday and Thursday when he was preparing the second Luchot.
But only on Monday and Thursday.
Monday and Thursday, yeah. We're going to learn now. Okay, let's see.
I missed so much. And then the Malchut, which we help with Monday and Thursday by reading the Torah, is like Neged Amalek, which gets its strength from wealth, from money.
Amalek gets its strength from yes. Amalek takes away our tefillot, right? Whenever we daven, and we don't daven with the right kavanah, right? Or we don't have any kavanah at all. So the tefillah goes directly to the sitracha.
Right.
He takes it over. But then when we have a good tefillah, we can pull out all those tefillahs.
Even when we have
what?
even in a minyan, he can grab it all.
Yes.
And
Yes.
everyone in the minyan would have to be like no kavana.
Right. That hopefully won't happen.
That somehow goes on the side of wealth, of like a
Yeah, that's how
money.
that's how he gets his vitality. His vitality comes from our tefillahs, right? So when we do tshuva, we take it away from him.
Right. Or if we break the midah of money.
Yes, that's also yes. But we weren't focusing on that over here.
Yeah.
But that's okay. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. So now we're going to learn. We'll start Halacha Gimel with Siyata Deshmaya, of course. So he says we're going to learn now why we have the Kriyas Torah on Monday and Thursday, right, Sasha? Right? Why we have it on Monday and Thursday. So here we go. So now this is based on. So the last lesson, Halacha Aleph, was based on lesson 56, right? The Torah on Bikurim in Likutey Maran, the first book. Now this one is going to be based on lesson 87. Okay. Al pi ma shekosra Rabbeinu zal b'Likutey Tinyon in the second book, shekavonas Elul heim tikun habris. The whole idea of Elul is the idea of tikun habris, right? Fixing up our immorality, right? The whole idea of fixing up, the whole idea of Elul, the whole idea of the Chodesh Elul, right? And then the Aseres Yemei Tshuva, right? And all of that is all to make tikun habris. Here he says ki kavonas Elul b'chinu hanoisim bayom derech. And he brings down Hanoisim Bayam Derech. He gives in the sea Bayam Derech a path. Shetzorich Lahoyer HaDerech Bayam. You have to make a path. You have to illuminate the path within the sea. He's gonna explain. Don't worry. This is just the first paragraph. Okay, Va'al Yedei Zeh Hu Moitzi Zivugai. Then the person can find his zivug. He can find his mate. He einoi kinegdoi. Find a mate that's not against him. Right? We know that Hashem said that we have the mate as the ezer kinegdo. Right? It either can be an ezer or it can be a kinegdo. Right? A wife can either help the person or the wife can be against the person. Right? Against the husband. Right? We know these examples. Right? Mm-hmm. A lot of times the wife's against us, right? How do we make our wives want to do our will?
Read Tikkun Klali.
Oh, okay, that's about Tikkun, right? It's all Tikkun, right? Soid zeh Mosa Avram leEliezer. How do you like that? This secret Avram Avinu gave over to Eliezer. Last week's parsha, right? We just read it yesterday, right? We learned all about Eliezer, right? Going on his trip. Right? He went to Padan Aram. He went back over there, right? He went back to Padan Aram. I saw in the Medrash yesterday something beautiful. It says, why is the place called Padan Aram? Because their place was full of Aramas. It was full of trickery. The place was full of trickery. So how did Rifka come out of there? So the Medrash says that Rifka is the Shoshana Bein HaChoichim. Rifka is the Shoshana. She was the rose amongst all the thorns. The thorns were all the people that were in that area. And it showed the greatness of Rivka, that she was able to overcome all of that nonsense. Her father, Besuel, right? and her brother Lavan, the con artist, right? And all the people in that area they weren't the nicest, they weren't the greatest, but she was able to come. So Avraham Avinu taught this to Eliezer. Isn't this a nice thing? Come on. Isn't this beautiful too? Come on. Right? We just learned Halacha Gimel, and we just read this yesterday. Come on, this is beautiful. This is beautiful too, right? Okay, Yitzchak Minai. Shazeh Sham, huh?
No, you're right. You're right. That's a good point. No, we just had that. You're right. What are the chances?
This may be a stretch, but it seems like this is the reason why we have many divorces, because men are not guarding their Brit.
Yeah. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, he wrote this then. I mean, again, you'd say he was writing it for now, but it could be that he this issue was going on then as well.
Yes. They had this issue in the times of the Gemara. The Torah speaks about all these cases. What?
They had it in Egypt, right?
No, in Egypt we were moral. We were moral. We did avodah zarah, but we weren't moral.
But we were around the immorality.
Yeah, we were around it. Yes. These were the instructions, right? What happens if the lady doesn't want to go? Right? You go to this far away place, right? Again, this is very far. This was about 1,500 kilometers away from where Avraham Avinu was at that time, right? When he sent him, right? Because Avraham Avinu was in Hebron, and he had to go all the way back to, where is that, near Iraq somewhere? Mesopotamia somewhere. It's far away from here. Very far. But now what happens if this lady doesn't want to leave her, she doesn't want to go on this big journey? Right? So look what it says now. Lo sava isha lelecha sacharecha rashi tevas el. How do you like that? Im lo sava isha lelecha sacharecha, right? Take that, you see that? Ve'emser heim tevas tavai ha'isha, the tavai isha ki al yedei kavanas el. Through kavanas el, she'll want to come with you.
Hold on. So I mean, this is like a psychological Torah. I mean, she's saying,
Yeah.
He's saying, hey, she might not want to come to me. Meaning, she might not be interested in the guy.
No. She just may not interested in going on the journey.
Right. I know, but he's going deeper and saying, obviously, the deeper meaning is, she won't be interested in the guy if his sexual energy is being misplaced in other places. But if he's able to go ahead and have the kavanah of Elul and be able to have a tikkun abrid and keep that for himself, and then for her, she's gonna want him. She's gonna want to be with him. She's gonna want to come.
Exactly.
Don't worry about it.
Exactly.
That's the
that exactly. Actually, it's amazing. The Medrash says this week's parsha and told us, right? So it says that Yitzchak Avinu was 60 years old, right? He didn't have any children, right? And Rifka, right? And they went to daven, each one in their corner, right? So what was their tefillah? So the Medrash says, beautiful. Rivka was davening that I should be able to have a child with my husband Yitzchak only. And Yitzchak was davening that I should only have children with my wife. It shouldn't be like my father that had to take a Hagar. And it shouldn't be like this. I want to have just with Rivka. She's my wife. That's it. I don't want to have any other relation with anyone else. Amazing. Hello. I'll show you the Medrash. Yes, it's a Medrash Rabbah. It's amazing. This tefillah right here, that was their tefillah. I want to have my wife with this, just my wife. I want to have my children. The promise that I will be that the nation of Klal Yisrael will come out of me should be through you, Rivka. Is that beautiful?
Yeah.
Only he did it, like even Yaakov didn't. Like
Yitzchak Avinu was special. He davened only this way.
And this little piece of advice that he's giving to
Yossi, we have a whole lesson. This is based on lesson 87. Yossi, there's a lot on this lesson. Kavanah Zel.
Yeah.
There's a lot written on this, but
it's not like he's going to find a girl, so it's not her problem. It's the guy.
No, if she wouldn't want to go, right? If she doesn't,
it's advice for us. Meaning it's not. It doesn't. He's just giving him advice to say, listen, if the guy, this is the deeper paninius of what I'm saying. Here's which is
no. But remember something. Remember one thing. that this is Avram Avinu taught this to Eliezer. Really, what did Eliezer want? He wanted that his daughter should marry Yitzchak.
Right.
He wanted that his daughter should marry Yitzchak, and Eliezer, the Medrash goes on to say, that Eliezer said, "Listen, Avram Avinu, I followed you. I follow you. So I may have been Arur, I may have been cursed, but since I linked on to you, now I'm Baruch also. Now I'm also blessed." He had a good time. He had a good time. Yes, I came from this place. Right? I came from this place. Right? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. No, and if you...
And I saw also, I mean, had she not wanted to come,
Right.
he would, okay, listen, I tried. We went out to the area. Then I guess your daughter could.
No. So it's even goes. It goes. No, it's even. Wait a second. It goes even once. No. So now when Rifka came from, she was born. Her father was Besuel, right? Not a good guy, right?
No.
His mother, whatever.
Okay, that Malach.
Right, whatever. No, whatever. Right. The Malach took care of him. Right. Moved the food over back and forth. Right. All of that. Right. Good stuff. Right. Oh, you know the Medrash too. Huh? Very good. Very good. The Medrash is wow, amazing. You know what he's talking about, right? They wanted to kill Eliezer, so they put poison in his food. When Eliezer came to the house and they brought him into the house, he said, "I cleaned my house up from all the avodah zarah, everything. You can come in. You can come in." Right? So what they do, they put poison in his food. So came the Malach Gabriel, and he moved the plates around. So Besuel ate his plate. He got Besuel's plate.
Oh, so Batul got poisoned.
And he died.
This is the Medrash, huh?
Yeah. It's famous. That's a famous Medrash. That's a famous one. Yeah, but that's a famous one. But really, when the Medrash, what?
Why do you want to kill him?
He wanted all his money. He came with all this money. He came with all these animals.
He was so evil, but his only justification for living was that he had this daughter, Rifka, who could go ahead and marry Yitzchak.
Yeah.
And once he was going to be opposed to this marriage, not letting her go, that he had
lost it.
Justification for being alive in the world.
It goes even further. No, it goes even further. The Medrash goes on to say, when Rivka comes with Eliezer, comes to her, she leaves her family, she becomes a Geiris. She becomes like she has no connection to her family. She doesn't even have a connection to that anymore. Right? If someone becomes a Geiris, right? A lady becomes a Geiris, so her father's not considered a father. Her mother's not considered a mother.
What's a Geiris? What does that mean?
A convert.
Oh, she's a convert. Okay. Right.
Right. If someone converts, right? So their biological mother and father are no longer considered their mother and father. It's fascinating. It's really fascinating. Well, anyway, let's go on here. Okay. Sha'al yedei zeh nase tikun habris, v'yedei zeh nase ba rotzan elav, and through you having the tikun habris, through Yitzchak being so pure, through Eliezer understanding this teaching, this teaching of the El, right? Through this, she'll want to come with you. Because again, it won't be kinegdo. She won't want to go against the husband. She wants to do the will of the husband. Right? Okay, the lady will come. She will be in agreement to go. Through pegam he turns away. She turns away from your ratzon. But if the person is pure, the person is always working on his purity, is watching what he sees and what he looks at and where he goes, and everything he does everything right. So then the wife will do what the husband wants. Isn't that amazing?
It's really, I know there's a lot to say here, but to Mordecai's point, especially in modern times, this is Gedaliah Fenster speaks about this all the time. A lot of the guys come to him, my wife, she's this, she's that, she's...
and what are you doing? And what are you doing?
What does that have to do with you? You just leave me alone. She doesn't know about it. What does that have to do with anything? That doesn't
it's
mean...
all, that's where, this is the story.
No.
This is the story.
That's right.
This is the secret. Yossi, this is the secret.
The secret to a good marriage.
This is the secret, exactly, to have a happy life. This is the secret. This is the secret. Vayidei kavanas ela shein bechinas anoisim bayam derech. Vayidei ze tova heisha ayin sham inyan ze heitev ki hu soid omok. This is a very deep v'nistar hidden mi'oid ma'od. This is a very, very mysterious understanding. To understand this, how the woman will our purity. When we have purity, it means we're connected to our spouse. Right? If you're connected to her, she feels that you're connected to her, and if she feels you're connected, she wants to do what you want to do. But again, if you're not connected to her because you're thinking about other people, other things, right? So then, of course, she's not connected to you. On a practical basis, right? You understand that?
You know what I hate about this?
It's easy
What?
to think. How does she know? What does she? What are you talking about? Water flowers.
She knows.
I came in, I smiled. What does she know?
Okay, so this is okay.
They
So
know.
are we gonna we're gonna stop?
life.
Okay, so this was the preview of this lesson. Okay, and the whole lesson is gonna go based on this. We're gonna learn a lot about this in Mitzvah Hashem. Okay, so we'll stop over here right now, and we'll pick it up tomorrow on Aleph. So it'll be 3-1 tomorrow. Okay, now let's learn something in Hilchos
You know what, I have to
Tzitzit.
say what I hate about this.
What do you hate?
It makes me responsible for my life and my marriage.
It is. Yes. We have to take responsibility. Yes. Oh, wow.
Until now, I thought so. It was other
All right, let's learn the Dvar Halacha. That's very important. Okay, here we go. Here, Yud Dalet. We're learning Kitzur Shulchan Aruch, Siman Tes, which is Hilchos Tzitzis, and we're up to Sivkat and Yud Dalet today. Okay, Chutei HaTzitzah Tzrichen Liyah Shezurin. We learned this when we were learning in the Likutey Halachos, right? We learned about the tzitzis. The strings have to be twisted, right? One string is really two strings, right? Shazurim. They're I guess twisted, right? Is that how you say it, right? Twisted. They're twisted together, right? Shazurim. Ve'im einay chut ve'im eize chut nifrad meshizirosai. And if one of the chutim is unwound, so now you have two strings, right? Right, because you have 8. Really, we said the 8 is really 16 because they're doubled. Remember, we learned that it was the whole thing, right? Okay, so now Azai kol haporud nechshav ki'ilu nitzak ve'enai. So then it's considered as if it was separated, and it's no good. In other words, your tzitzis have to be always considered. They always have to be wound. Some people, what they do is they make little knots on the bottom of the tzitzis. You ever see that?
Yes, they don't unwind.
So, what? Yeah. What?
No, I'm just showing.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
they don't
each
unwind.
one is double. They're wind. They wind them pretty good today, so they don't really come out. They don't really come out. Okay, let's do Tes Vav. It was short. Talis sheyesh by tzitzis v'nechlecha shnei chalakim. Let's say you have a talis, two, and it got split. It got split. Whatever, the talis tore in half, or it split. K'meishu shechiach b'harbe talisais shalonu shehem mechubarais mishnei chalakim. As he says in that time, and they still do it today. Sometimes you'll see there's a seam in the middle of the talis, right? Right? Do you ever see that? Here the talisim in Israel, I think they're all made out of one piece. But sometimes there were talisim that were made out of the beged. We're talking about the garment itself, the beged, right? The piece of cloth was made out of different pieces. Okay. Sometimes you want to take them apart because maybe your washing machine isn't so big. Right, so you take it apart because you can't wash it; it's too big to wash in one thing, right? And therefore you take it apart. Okay. Maybe we'll use the idea, like that talis that they use on Simchas Torah. Do you ever see that big talis, right? You have that big talis, right? I'll just give you something to think about, okay? That's a big talis. So it would be very hard. It would be very hard to wash that talis in one thing, right? That's a talis for a real giant, right? Right, so you take it apart to be able to wash it. Right? Okay. And therefore now you put it back and you sew it back together. Right? You took it apart, you opened the seam, right? And now you washed it. Now you put it back, you sewed it back on. Kivan, the mistama yesh bechol chelek kidei lisatei boy. Must be that there was on the two pieces, right? If you wanted to be able to wrap yourself into the talis, right? On both pieces, either piece was big enough that you would be able to do the wrapping.
On each one individually?
By itself, right? It would have been big enough still that you could wrap in. Al kain dai im yitol shnei atzitzias me'ezeh chelek sheyirtza. So then you could take off two tzitzis from one side. In other words, if both sides were big enough that you would be able to make a talis out of them by itself. Let's say you would make new holes on the ends, on the corners, right? And then, if that's the case, that both pieces are large enough that you'd be able to turn them into a talis by itself, okay? And it would make the shear, everything would be okay. So then you could pick to redo the tzitzis on whichever side you want. Because, okay, we're going to see now. After you put it back together, then tie the tzitzis again. But let's say you have a garment where one side was too small, right? It was split, but one side was too small than the other side, right? You couldn't make it into a talis. Right? If it split right in the middle, so then it's possible that both sides would be big enough. But what happens if it was split closer to the top or closer to the bottom? So then you don't have that. Tzarech lahaser kol hatzitzias. Then you have to take off all of the tzitzis. Mishum shenis fardu hachalokim niftar kol chelik mitzitzis. Because you took it apart, so therefore then and not both sides are big enough to be a talis themselves. So therefore, you have to take them all off and start all over again. Now when you put it back together, it's chaye betzitzis, right? Now it's chaye betzitzis. Im tisharna boy harishoyna pasal mishum tasei v'loy min ha'osoi, like we learned in Sif Vav, right? There's the idea of tasei v'loy min ha'osoi. You have to make the tzitzis. It can't be something that was made before. Right, you couldn't have the tzitzis on it and sew it together, and now you have a beged. It's no good. You have to make the tzitzah. You have to make the tzitzis. You have this example. You have there's only I can only think of one other example. You have tasei v'lei minasi sukkah. Right, that's the only. I can't think of another one. Does anyone, Shalom? Could you think of another one that has tasei v'lei minasi? That you have to tasei v'lei minasi means you have to. Yeah, you have to make it. Has to be. You have to make it now. It can't be from something that was done before. Okay, ve'im bechelek echad yesh by kidei ituf. But if you have the side that you could in each chelek that you could do the ituf, you could do the wrapping, right? Ubechelek echad ein by kidei ituf yaser atzitzis mechelek zeh she'ein by kidei ituf. So then, if you have the two a beged, right? That's split. So if it's split in half, that's no problem. Then you just put it back together, take off two of the tzitzis, retie two tzitzis, right? And then the beged is okay because you don't have the problem of tasei v'lei minasi.
Why only two? Why not all four?
Because the other side was big enough to be a talis already. It was big enough that you were able to wrap yourself into it, so that was already two. So you could have just punched two holes, and those were okay. The beggy was okay, right? You took it apart, and the tzitzit was there, and the beggy wasn't finished. See, Shalom, that's the thing. It wasn't finished, right? It wasn't finished. If it was finished, then you took it apart, and you understand the difference, right? Because it's two. It was two. You understand his question? It was two. So how come those two are okay? Those two are okay because it wasn't considered a tzitzis yet. So now you can count those because you're still going to do two more. That's the chiddush. You can count those because you're still going to do two more. You understand that? We got it? I don't think we have to worry about this, but we do have to know that because I don't think we take apart our talis and but if you ever have a situation where your talis did split in whatever the seam at where you folded it too many times and it got weak and it tore apart. So what do? So now you know you can sew it back together if you want to, right? If you want to, and then take off 2 of the tzitzis. Take off 2 of the tzitzis, retie the 2 tzitzis, and then you have a kosher beged, okay? But the one that's very important is the one if it's untwisted. And we have to always check to make sure your tzitzis didn't untwist, okay? So we'll leave it over there. I hope everyone has a wonderful day, a shvua tov, and thank you everyone for joining, and kol tuv.